There's someone you know who never demands respect, yet people instantly give it to them. They don't chase attention, but eyes follow them when they enter a room. They don't explain themselves, yet others assume they're important. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It has nothing to do with money, looks, or intelligence. You've seen broke people command rooms. You've seen average faces dominate conversations. You've seen brilliant minds ignored. So what separates them? Is something you can't see, but it bends every interaction in their favor. A silent force that reshapes how people treat them before a single word is spoken. What shocked me most is this force isn't new. It's been studied, refined, and quietly used for over 5 centuries. The powerful have always known it. The masses rarely do. Once you understand it, you'll never look at people the same way again. You'll start seeing who truly controls situations, and who's just reacting. You'll recognize why some people rise effortlessly while others struggle endlessly, even when they work harder. And here's the warning. Once this clicks, you can't unlearn it. This isn't about becoming loud. It's about becoming untouchable. Not by force, but by psychology. Today, you're going to learn how influence really works when it doesn't announce itself. But before we go further, lock this idea in your mind. Real power doesn't ask to be noticed. Because once you see what's coming next, you'll realize most people have been playing the wrong game their entire lives, and you won't want to be one of them. Most people have been taught a lie, that power comes from being bold, aggressive, and constantly asserting yourself. That's not power, that's insecurity wearing armor. Real influence doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't explain itself. It moves quietly, shaping outcomes while others argue about who's in charge. Think about the most influential person you've personally encountered. Not a celebrity, not a public figure. Someone real. Do they dominate conversations? Do they brag? Do they constantly prove their worth? Almost never. Instead, people lean toward them. Conversations adjust around them. Respect arrives without being requested. This is invisible dominance, the ability to control perception without revealing intent. While others compete for attention, this person attracts it effortlessly. While others overtalk, their silence pulls people closer. And here's the advantage most don't notice. No one feels threatened, yet everyone feels influenced. Average people leak everything. Their emotions, frustrations, plans, fears, broadcasted openly. They make themselves easy to read, easy to predict, easy to manipulate. Invisible dominance does the opposite. Keeps people guessing, creates intrigue. It forces others to invest effort just to understand you. When people work to figure you out, they assign you value. Mystery creates gravity, and gravity creates power. This is why the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. Strength doesn't need volume, it needs control. And once you understand how control actually works, you'll stop trying to be impressive and start becoming undeniable. Because what comes next explains why predictability is the fastest way to lose leverage, and how staying unreadable flips the entire dynamic. Predictability feels safe, but it's the silent killer of influence. When people know exactly how you'll react, they control you. When your emotions are visible, your decisions become negotiable. Transparency may feel honest, but in social dynamics, it often makes you vulnerable. If someone knows criticism rattles you, they'll use it. If they know praise excites you, they'll manipulate you with it. If they understand your triggers, they can pull your strings on command. Predictable people don't lose because they're weak. They lose because they're exposed. Look closely at people who consistently get what they want. They don't overshare. They don't react instantly. They don't explain themselves to everyone who asks. They release information slowly, intentionally, and only when it benefits them. Information is leverage. Every detail you give away for comfort is power you hand over. Every emotional reaction you display becomes a button others can press. The goal isn't deception, it's discretion. Being unreadable doesn't mean being fake. It means being disciplined. You don't reveal your thoughts just to feel understood. You don't express every emotion just to feel authentic. You choose what's shown and what stays hidden. The moment people can't predict you, they become cautious. and caution is respect in disguise. As you move forward, remember this. The less people know about your internal world, the more carefully they treat you. And the next principle shows how silence, not speech, becomes your greatest advantage. Here's a truth that shifts every conversation you'll ever have. The person who asks the questions controls the room, not the one who talks the most. Most people speak to feel relevant. They rush to fill silence because quiet exposes insecurity. And in doing so, they give away everything. While others talk, the observer learns. While others perform, the strategist gathers intelligence. Silence sharpens perception. You begin to notice patterns, what people avoid, what excites them, what makes them defensive. These details are power. But this isn't about being distant or disengaged. You're present, just precise. You ask questions that reveal more than statements ever could. You speak only when your words add weight, not noise. And when you do speak, people listen because you don't waste their attention. Most people fear silence because they think it weakens them. In reality, silence unsettles others. It forces them to reveal themselves. They talk more. They explain more. They expose their intentions, all while you remain composed. This creates an imbalance. One person reacts. The other calculates. When people can't read you, they don't know how to approach you. Should they impress you? Win you over? Avoid crossing you? That uncertainty places you above the emotional chaos of the room. And once people associate you with calm, control, and restraint, they start seeking your approval, even if you never asked for it. Next, you'll learn how availability quietly destroys value, and why being less accessible makes your presence far more powerful. Human psychology follows a brutal rule. What's always available is rarely valued. When you're constantly accessible, people stop respecting your time. When you say yes to everything, your agreement loses meaning. And when you respond instantly to everyone, your attention becomes cheap. Scarcity creates importance. Always has. Think about anything valuable: gold, influence, authority. None of it is unlimited. The same applies to you. When you become selectively available, people begin to adjust their behavior. They prepare more. They respect boundaries. They stop assuming access. This isn't manipulation. It's alignment with reality. People protect what feels earned, not what's freely handed out. Strategic scarcity means you respond when it serves you, not when you're pressured. You attend what matters, not everything you're invited to. You give attention intentionally, not reflexively. And when you do show up, your presence carries weight. People notice. Conversations pause. Energy shifts. The mistake most people make is confusing kindness with availability. You can be respectful without being endlessly accessible. You can be engaged without being consumed. Once people realize your time isn't guaranteed, they treat it differently. They stop wasting it. They stop taking it for granted. And here's the paradox. The less you chase relevance, the more relevant you become. But scarcity alone isn't enough. The next principle explains how to enter and exit situations with precision, so your presence becomes unforgettable instead of forgettable. Most people think influence comes from being everywhere, every conversation, every event, every decision. In reality, that's how you fade into the background. Strategic presence isn't about frequency, it's about timing. Being present at the right moment matters more than being present all the time. When you appear selectively, people notice. When you speak sparingly, your words linger. When you leave at the right time, your absence becomes memorable. This is how presence turns into impact. Instead of forcing involvement, you choose your moments. You don't compete for space, you claim it when it counts. Sometimes the smartest move is observation. Other times, it's decisive action. The power lies in knowing which is required. People who overstay lose mystique. People who overtalk dilute meaning. But those who enter with intention and exit with discipline create lasting impressions. Leaving first is often more powerful than staying longer. It signals self-control. It suggests priorities. It leaves others wanting more instead of feeling relieved. Strategic presence also protects your energy. You stop reacting to everything. You stop being pulled into unnecessary dynamics. And when you do engage, it's because it matters, not because you were available. This shifts how people perceive you. You're no longer just present, you're significant. And once you master presence, the next challenge is emotional control. Because the fastest way to lose all of this power is letting others dictate how you react. Most people don't lose power because of what happens to them, they lose it because of how they respond. Emotional reactions are predictable, and predictability is easy to exploit. People will test you. They'll provoke, flatter, pressure, rush, and guilt you, often subtly. If your emotions dictate your responses, you hand them control. Emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing feelings. It means refusing to let feelings make decisions. You feel everything, but you act selectively. When someone tries to anger you, pause. When someone pressures you, slow down. When someone praises you, stay grounded. Each moment is a test of control. Reactive people are easy to steer. Composed people are difficult to manipulate. The strongest individuals aren't cold, they're regulated. They don't broadcast internal chaos. They process privately and respond strategically. This makes them unpredictable and therefore respected. When conflict rises and you remain calm, others look to you. When emotions flare and you stay steady, your authority increases. People trust those who don't panic. This discipline creates psychological distance. Others feel it. They hesitate before crossing you, not because you threaten them, but because they can't read you. And once people stop being able to read you, they stop being able to control you. Next, you'll learn how silence, when used intentionally, becomes louder than any argument you could ever make. Silence isn't empty. It's loaded. And most people have no idea how dangerous it really is. They think silence makes them invisible, weak, or irrelevant. So they rush to talk. They explain. They justify. They overclarify. And every word they add strips away their power. Strategic silence works differently. Creates tension. It slows the pace. It forces other people to carry the weight of the interaction. When you stop speaking at the right moment, the other person starts revealing more than they planned, just to escape the discomfort. After you make a strong statement, don't defend it. Let it breathe. When someone challenges you, pause before responding. That pause alone unsettles them. It signals control. Tells them you're thinking, not reacting. Most people mistake silence for indecision. In reality, it's restraint. And restraint is intimidating. Silence shows you don't need approval. You don't need to win verbally. You don't need to prove anything. Here's the hidden advantage. People project onto silence. They assume depth. They assume confidence. They assume authority. And once they do, everything you say afterward carries more weight. The quieter you become, the more carefully others speak around you. Your words turn into events instead of background noise. And when you finally break the silence, people listen because they've been waiting. But silence alone isn't enough. If you reveal everything you can do, you erase its effect. That's where the next principle comes in. One of the fastest ways to destroy your influence is showing everything you're capable of too early. Most people think displaying full potential builds respect. In reality, it kills curiosity and hands others a roadmap to neutralize you. When people know all your skills, they stop being impressed and start planning around you. They categorize you. They predict you. And once that happens, your leverage disappears. Powerful individuals reveal their abilities in layers. They demonstrate competence without exposing the full range. They keep something hidden not out of deception but out of strategy. Mystery sustains influence. Transparency ends it. This applies to everything. Your skills, your knowledge, your resources, even your connections. You don't lie. You simply don't volunteer unnecessary information. You answer honestly but selectively. When you hold back, something interesting happens. People underestimate you. And underestimation is one of the most powerful positions you can occupy. It allows surprise. It allows flexibility. It allows control. People respect what they see, but they are fascinated by what they don't see. Fascination creates attention. Attention creates influence. Influence creates power. Never reveal your entire arsenal in the first encounter. Leave unanswered questions. Leave unfinished impressions. Let people discover you over time. Because the person who still has something hidden is always the one with the advantage. And next, you'll learn how uncertainty, when used correctly, forces people to work harder for your respect. Certainty makes people lazy. Uncertainty keeps them alert. This is one of the most overlooked psychological truths in power dynamics. When people know exactly how you'll respond, they stop respecting the interaction. They stop trying. But when your reactions aren't guaranteed, when your approval isn't automatic, people behave differently. They listen more carefully. They choose their words. They invest effort. This doesn't mean being chaotic or inconsistent. Your values stay solid. Your boundaries stay firm. What changes is your method. Sometimes you respond quickly. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're warm. Sometimes neutral. Always intentional. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. Unpredictable people are respected. When others can't read your next move, they become cautious. They hesitate before pushing boundaries. They stop assuming access to your time, attention, or energy. This kind of uncertainty creates gravity. People lean in. They adjust their behavior without being told. And most importantly, they stop taking you for granted. The goal isn't confusion. It's engagement. Curiosity instead of comfort. Awareness instead of entitlement. Once people realize they can't control the outcome of interactions with you, they start controlling themselves instead. But to maintain this position, you need discipline. That's where transformation actually begins. This isn't about changing your personality. It's about removing behaviors that quietly sabotage your power. 3 habits destroy influence faster than anything else. First, the need for validation. When you seek approval, you give others leverage over you. Your reactions become predictable. Your confidence becomes negotiable. Second, over-explaining. Powerful people don't narrate their decisions. They don't justify boundaries. They don't apologize for clarity. Every extra explanation weakens authority. Third, emotional reacting. Feel everything but respond selectively. Emotional impulses are rarely strategic. Pausing is not weakness. It's dominance. Now replace those habits with better ones. Ask questions instead of making statements. Questions gather information and shift control. Speak less but with precision. Make every word intentional. Become selectively available. Let your time be earned through respect, not demanded through pressure. When you show up, let it matter. These changes feel subtle, but their effect is massive. People won't be able to explain why interactions with you feel different. They'll just know they need to be more careful. And once people start adjusting for you, you've already won. Because real power never needs to announce itself. Loud power demands attention. Quiet power attracts it. Loud power forces respect. Quiet power receives it automatically. Most people perform authority. They raise their voice. They dominate conversations. They try to control others directly. And in doing so, they expose insecurity. Invisible dominance works differently. It controls the environment, not the people. It shifts energy without confrontation. It guides outcomes without resistance. You stop chasing influence, and influence starts orbiting you. People begin listening more carefully. They stop interrupting. They hesitate before challenging you. Not because you threaten them, but because they sense depth and restraint. This is power without friction. Control without chaos. Influence without exhaustion. While others burn energy trying to be seen, you conserve it. While they argue for relevance, you become unavoidable. And the most dangerous part? You don't look powerful. You look calm. That's why it works. Here's where most people fail. Not because they don't understand power, but because they don't have the patience to embody it. Invisible dominance isn't something you turn on once and forget. It's a discipline that rewards consistency and punishes emotional weakness. Every moment you choose restraint over reaction, your influence grows. Every time you don't explain yourself, your authority sharpens. Every provocation you ignore quietly elevates your position. This is how dominance compounds silently. Most people crave immediate results. They want recognition now, respect now, validation now. That hunger exposes them. It makes them loud, reactive, and predictable. Power works on a different timeline. It accumulates when others aren't paying attention. You don't need to win every exchange. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. You don't need to defend your reputation. The person who stays composed while others scramble automatically rises above them. What people don't realize is this: self-control is visible. Others feel it even if they can't explain it. They sense that you can't be rushed, pressured, or emotionally hijacked. And once they sense that, they treat you differently, more carefully. This is where fear, respect, and curiosity quietly merge. Not because you threaten anyone, but because you're not easily moved. And once people realize you're solid while everything around you shifts, they begin orbiting you instead of testing you. What comes next shows how to turn this internal control into external gravity. Start applying this the very next time you interact with someone. Don't announce it. Don't force it. Just change your behavior slightly and watch the shift unfold. Speak less than usual. Let pauses stretch longer than comfort allows. Resist the urge to clarify when silence already made your point. Most people will rush to fill the gap. They'll explain themselves. They'll adjust their tone. They'll reveal intentions they never meant to share. Silence turns conversations into mirrors. Others begin projecting their expectations, fears, and assumptions onto you. And projection gives you information, valuable information. You'll notice people becoming more cautious around you. They'll choose words more carefully. They'll hesitate before interrupting. They'll start checking your reactions instead of assuming them. Your presence begins to feel heavier. Not aggressive, not dominant, just grounded. You're no longer participating emotionally. You're observing strategically. And here's the key. You don't need to act powerful for this to work. The less you try, the stronger the effect becomes. Influence increases when effort decreases. This is why calm people often control chaotic rooms. This is why leaders don't rush. This is why silence unnerves manipulators. Once you experience this shift, you'll realize power was never about doing more. It was about revealing less. And the final step shows how to live in this position permanently. The world is overcrowded with people demanding attention, begging for validation, and confusing noise with authority. They talk more, explain more, react faster, and wonder why no one takes them seriously. Don't be one of them. Be the person who stays calm when others explode. Be the one who listens while others perform. Be the one who chooses moments instead of chasing them. Real power doesn't rush. It doesn't argue. It doesn't compete. It waits and lets others expose themselves. When you stop chasing respect, it arrives. When you stop seeking approval, people offer it. When you stop reacting emotionally, others lose leverage over you. This is the paradox most never understand. The less you try to control people, the more control you gain over situations. Your silence becomes language. Your restraint becomes reputation. Your presence becomes influence. People won't always know why they respect you. But they will. They'll feel it. They'll adjust for it. They'll hesitate before crossing you. And that's the final truth. The most powerful person in any room isn't the loudest, smartest, or most aggressive. It's the one no one can read, rush, or manipulate. Become that person and you'll never need to ask for power again.